Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, we're talking about the newly released iOS 12.0.1 by Apple. Now, this new firmware was just released today for all devices that support iOS 12. Now, some of the major fixes primarily involve the iPhone XS and a few of the bugs that they have been experiencing, but in today's video, we're not only going to focus on the changes in 12.0.1, but also how this new firmware impacts the world of jailbreaking. So before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But if you guys want a really easy way to check if a jailbreak has been released for your iOS version, check the first link down below in this video's description. Tanner created an awesome jailbreak status checker, which you can easily use to just check if a jailbreak has been released, essentially, for your specific iOS version. It's dynamically updated with the latest news pertaining to jailbreaking. Alright, let's get into today's video. So the first update to iOS 12 is here. Exactly 3 weeks after iOS 12.0 was released to the public, Apple has now released iOS 12.0.1 to address some of the major bugs iPhone XS users have been experiencing. So I've been showing you guys my iPhone throughout this video. It doesn't really help much this far away, so I'll show you guys right here on the left of your screen exactly what's on my phone. Essentially, this is just the update page showing you guys iOS 12.0.1, how big it is. It roughly came out to be 156.6 megabytes on my iPhone XS Max. Now, the size of the update will vary depending on which device you have and which firmware you're updating from, so I wouldn't really pay too much attention to that. But you guys can see right below some of the major issues it addresses, some of the Wi-Fi connectivity issues, some of the charging issues that iPhone XS Max and XS users have been experiencing. It also looks like the position of the number keypad has been switched back to its original place on iOS 12, on the iPad specifically. I know a bunch of users were complaining about that. Well, Apple listened and reverted that change back, so it's a lot easier and more natural to use the number keypad. A couple Bluetooth issues as well, but all in all, a pretty damn good update for iOS 12 for any user running iOS 12. If you're on the new A12 devices, or you're just on iOS 12 on your older generation devices, if you're not intending to jailbreak, it looks like this update is going to be a very nice and suited one if you guys want to install it. These issues have all been addressed in iOS 12.1 betas, but now a public release in iOS 12.0.1 has been fixed and pushed to users so they can get those changes today. Anyway, if you guys are on iOS 12 on some of the new devices, but let's get on to the main portion of this video, talking about how iOS 12.0.1 impacts the world of jailbreaking, because I'm sure that is why you guys are all here. Alright, well, with the push of iOS 12.0.1, we have a few good things and a few bad things to talk about in the world of jailbreaking. So let's start with the good things. The good things are all of the exploits and bugs and vulnerabilities that were talked about regarding iOS 12.0. None of them have been released publicly, that is. They've been demonstrated, but none of the actual exploits or code have been released to the public's eyes, meaning Apple most likely has not patched any of it. So all of the demonstrations like Pangoose Jailbreak for iOS 12, in theory, will still work perfectly fine on iOS 12.0.1. We also have other developers, like I've talked about in the past, working on iOS 12 exploits. Their time frame of iOS 12.1, when they're going to release it, that still remains true as well. Now, we've had a couple other developers enter the scene. They've actually been on the scene earlier, but they've made a reappearance saying that they've actually jailbroken the iPhone XS and A12 devices along those lines successfully, so that is good news. But again, nothing has been released publicly. Now, in this one case, that actually may be a good thing for the iOS 12 jailbreak scene, as Apple would not have had the ability to patch any of the exploits like I've talked about. But other than that, there really hasn't been any major updates pertaining to the iOS 12 jailbreak scene. Again, like I said, Ian Beer is still speculated in the background to be releasing iOS 11.4.1 exploits for a jailbreak for that firmware. I'm surprised iOS 11.4.1 is still being signed. Now, this really brings me to my next point of this video, the bad news. Now we have multiple firmwares of iOS 12. Soon, Apple will stop seeding iOS 12.0 and only be seeding iOS 12.0.1. Now, in my opinion, these minor point-of-a-point updates, 12.0.1, don't impact the world of jailbreaking as much as, say, iOS 12.1 is going to. But in any case, this marks the first day that we have two versions of iOS 12 be out there for the public. And like I said earlier, iOS 12.0 will stop being signed eventually. In any case, I just want to make you guys aware that eventually some firmwares of iOS 12 will stop being signed, and only the latest version of iOS 12 is going to be signed. And that puts us in a rare predicament where if we're staying on iOS 11.4.1, for example, if we wanted to update to iOS 12.0 in the future, we have a limited time frame to do so now. Anyway, it's hard to say at this point where exactly to remain. I personally would remain on the lowest version of iOS that you can. I'm staying on iOS 11 like I've stated in previous videos, but the choice is up to you if you guys want to update to iOS 12.0. These minor updates are great for users that don't want to jailbreak, but they make it just a pain in the butt for users that want to jailbreak in the future. In any case, I will be the first to update you if any major breaking news comes out in the world of jailbreaking for iOS 12 that suggests we should update to a version of iOS 12 instead of 11.4.1 or below. I personally, like I said, I'm staying on the lower version of iOS, as I really think Ian Beer is going to come through and bring us an exploit which could be used for a jailbreak for that firmware. Anyway, if you don't have time to watch one of our videos every single week, go ahead and bookmark that jailbreak status checker. That will always be up to date if a new jailbreak has been released for your firmware. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video on iOS 12.0.1. I hope it was informational and you guys liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, of course, if you have yet to. But until next time, guys, this is Tony, signing out.